To address these challenges faced by traditional institutions in northern Nigeria, the following recommendations are humbly proposed. Number one, capacity building and training. Traditional leaders should receive training on modern conflict resolution techniques, human rights principles, and legal frameworks. This will enhance their ability to address contemporary conflicts, such as those involving youth radicalization, ethnic violence, and insurgency. Then second, strengthening legal recognition and support. Governments should recognize and support the role of traditional institutions within the formal legal framework. This can be done by granting them limited authority in certain matters, such as mediation and arbitration of disputes, while ensuring that their actions do not conflict with state laws. Resource allocation. Adequate funding and resources should be allocated to traditional institutions to enhance their ability to function effectively. This could include funding for administrative purposes, providing training on conflict mediation, supporting public awareness campaign to promote the importance of traditional system in maintaining peace. I remember an episode where in one village, a dead body was found by the bank of a stream. So the people rushed to the Jauro and said they have seen a dead body because he is the traditional authority there. The Jauro came, he saw the dead body there. To evacuate it to the next police post, which is just a police post, not even a police division, was difficult. Why? The Jauro at that time did not have even a single kobo. And as a Jauro, as a ward head, he's expected to evacuate the body, take it to the police, or go and invite the police to come and evacuate the body. But he did not have the resources. And that is happening to even our senior traditional rulers, the emirs and chiefs. Sometimes you find security challenges which needed their prompt intervention. However, because of the inadequacy of funds, they find it difficult to perform well. Most of them, they strive very hard. They strive very hard to get resources, even if it means borrowing, so that they can discharge that responsibility. And security is so important that no amount of money will be adequate to, will be a waste in the course of securing an environment or securing a community. So funding, really, to traditional rulers is very, very important. But then, the negative side sometimes is some of the fundings ought to be judiciously used. Because traditional rulers are typical Nigerians, average Nigerians, who if you give public money, there's the likelihood of a certain percentage going elsewhere. So, but with a dedication and knowing their history, I think things could go for the better. Promotion of community dialogue. Encouraging inter-community dialogue facilitated by traditional leaders can be a powerful tool in conflict prevention. Establishing regular forums where diverse groups can meet to discuss issues, share concerns, and find common ground can help to reduce tension and prevent escalation of conflicts. You see, a traditional ruler might be interested when he hears that there is a problem brewing somewhere. He might be interested in reaching out to his colleague in the other domain to find out, oh, how can we sit to discuss this border issue between us, or these issues, these security issues that are coming between us. But you find that the traditional rulers are handicapped. Sometimes, even the state authorities will start asking, why is he bothering himself? Why is he going into that far? It is the responsibility of the local government chairman or the responsibility of the DPO. While the traditional rulers, they get information earlier than any other authority. So we need to see how to encourage them to be liaising between and amongst themselves, so that before an event or before an issue escalates into a conflagration or into a conflict, it has been nipped in the bud. That will help tremendously in bringing down the level of insecurity being experienced in any society in the northern region. Then another one that I will say is the restoration of confidence of the people in their traditional rulers. I will respectfully plead with our royal fathers, now I'll say north of northern region, to strive to go back to basics and recall when their forefathers were respected, revered, and adored. They were not respected, revered, or adored simply because they were the regalia of traditional rulers. No, they were revered, respected, and adored because they were honest, selfless, and impartial in the discharge of their royal responsibilities. And they were ready to sacrifice almost anything for the interest of their people. While traditional rulers are still respected in many rural areas, their legitimacy has been questioned in urban areas among the young generation. This is due to factors such as politicization, corruption, and perception that some traditional rulers are out of touch with modern realities. Instances of corruption, abuse of power, and unethical behavior by some traditional rulers in some northern states have tarnished the reputation of the institution as a whole. This had led to a decline in public trust and respect. Few are bad. They are bad, terribly bad. But as we know, why care there in Abatemia? So, but then, if you clean your conscience, do the right thing in the right way to the right people, I think you can restore your image, your prestige, and your standing amongst your people. In conclusion, it was just by accident. I just saw a recent study of a Nairobi, Kenya-based NGO. That study revealed that traditional conflict resolution methods as practiced in Nigeria, that is from Kenya, is better than the modern adjudicative method of conflict resolution because our own is faster and non-adversarial. The study recommends, among other things, strengthening the traditional methods of conflict resolution, conflict management, because it is friendlier, faster, cheaper, and devoid of post-conflict animosity. This is somebody in Kenya who conducted study all over African societies. And he came up with his own study indicating that the way our royal fathers in the northern states are resolving issues, they are faster and more effective and very, very efficient, and it is cheaper. So much as we now, we may say they are not living up to expectation in our own yardstick, but somewhere, somebody outside is looking at our traditional rulers with the kind of reverence that is supposed to be for them. And numerous case studies here in Nigeria highlight successful traditional conflict resolution efforts in various communities, showcasing how these traditional institutions can effectively address issues like land disputes, inter-ethnic conflicts, and communal violence. Traditional rulers have been instrumental in mediating disputes between farmers and herders over land and water resources. Gombe State is a classical success story because we have seen a reduction in that mode of conflict of farmers and herders. In cities like Kaduna and Jos, traditional and religious leaders have worked to de-escalate violence and promote dialogue between Christians and Muslim communities. Traditional institutions in northern Nigeria have a rich history of conflict resolution, grounded in community values, reconciliation, and restorative justice. However, modern challenges, including political interference, resources limitation, and rise of extremism, have made it increasingly difficult for these institutions to maintain their effectiveness. By providing capacity building opportunities, proper funding, and strengthening legal recognition, traditional institutions can be empowered to play a crucial role in resolving conflicts and promoting peace in the region. It is essential that both traditional and modern systems work together to create a more harmonious and peaceful northern Nigeria. Despite all these challenges, however, traditional rulers still hold cultural and symbolic significance in many communities, and their role in conflict resolution and peace building remains valuable. To enhance their relevance, there is a need to empower traditional rulers to address contemporary issues and restore public trust in their institution. By so doing, northern Nigeria can harness the strength of the traditional institutions to complement modern governance and promote sustainable development. May Allah make it possible. Let me give an example of how the conflict resolution mechanisms of our traditional rulers is of eminent importance, and people have confidence in it more than any other. Some years back, in the late 80s, in Kano, as a private legal practitioner, I went to a court in Kofar Kudu, that is just opposite the Emir's Palace. And the case was mentioned. The plaintiff is there, the defendant is there. So the person who brought the case before the court said, and it was in Hausa, of course they were conducting their proceedings in Hausa. After stating his claim, he said, har gaban sarkin Kano muka je amma mun kasa sasantawa. Wannan yaki mu sasanta. By reflex, wallahi wani tsoho sai ce Allah ya tsine masa. Why? Because a ce sarkin Kano ya so ya sasanta ku kaki to ai kai shedani ne. That is how traditional rulers have been held. Although I agree, some years back, but not now. Some of the traditional rulers, because of their maybe non-exposure, they have their own challenges. And I can remember, and I was proud, I refer to that issue. You see, some people from different parts of this country, they look at our traditional rulers. In fact, a lecturer of mine in the University of Maiduguri described our traditional rulers as old, collar-chewing illiterates in a turban. Old, collar-chewing illiterates in a turban. Of course, he's a lecturer, what can you do? Incidentally, SSG is before it became the VC, so by locating company. It was in the 80s. At that time, I don't know whether they still have, but there was common rooms where students go and relax. And in the common rooms, you find television sets. So I happened to be in that common room with one of the sons of the lecturer. And then at that time, of course, there was no these 24-hour channels. It was network news. Network news, 9 o'clock, we were watching. Then the newscaster said something, I've forgotten what, that no, he will ask a traditional ruler to comment on that event. So suddenly, I saw His Royal Highness, the Emir of Doku, late Emir of Doku. He was asked a question. And the way he was answering flawlessly in English, with his turban, an old man, and he was speaking fluent English, convincingly, and very well understood. I felt very, very proud. And somebody near me asked me, I can't tell you his tribe. He said, is this not a traditional ruler? I said, yes, he's even my uncle. Because I was proud of them. So the whole idea of our traditional ruler being not, look at the quality of traditional rulers we have now. They are so exposed, They are so versatile that they will be able to serve their communities and the states efficiently and effectively if you give them the resources and the wherewithal to work. They will. They know nothing except service. They don't do anything except to serve the people. So encourage them. Give them the means. Give them the opportunity. Give them the freedom. They will do wonders. And we pray for them. And we continue praying for them. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, sir.
Don't say anything.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause once more for him. He has instructed me not to say anything, and I won't. Please, a round of applause once more for him. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. But permit me a slight comment. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. At this moment, we're moving to the next presenter. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to inform you that the next presenter is already in the house. He's going to speak to us on climate change and its impacts on security in Northeast. The presenter is a lecturer, a distinguished lecturer for that matter, from the Department of Geography, University of Maiduguri. Professor Abubakar Monguno is a director at the Center for Disaster Risk Management at the University of Maiduguri, like I said. He is also recognized as a peace ambassador by the Universal Peace Federation with a strong background in environmental geography and climate change. Professor Monguno has made significant contributions to understanding and addressing the impacts of climate change in northeastern Nigeria. His work focuses on disaster risk management, environmental change, and sustainable development in the region. This has earned him so many recognition, both within and outside Nigeria. He has a very wonderful contribution to a book on the topic, Why in Borno? The History, Geography, and Sociology of Islamic Radicalization, as a co-author. Among his prominent write-ups regarding security is Security and Governance in Borno State, Community Resilience to Boko Haram Insurgency in Borno, among very numerous publications of his. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, may we welcome to the podium for his presentation, Professor Abubakar Monguno. You're welcome, sir. Please, a round of applause for him. You're very much welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, represented very ably by my former Vice Chancellor, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Njodi, I stand on already established protocol. Like you see the projection, my name is Abubakar, and I come from Maiduguri, and I'm very privileged to be in the midst of the people of Gombe, particularly as a Kanuri man coming to speak to the Fulanis. I'm very, very privileged. So I hope they will listen to me. I hope they will listen to me. I was thinking I would be accompanied by a Fulani man here, but I did not get that. No worries. I hope I will go back safely. What we've been discussing so far, from yesterday till this morning, are all intertwined, are all interrelated, are all intermingled. Right from the panel discussions yesterday that we had, up to the discussions about the security agencies and by the very distinguished Ciroma Ngombe, all these issues are related. But one thing that we somehow forget is the interrelation of these things with the environment, precisely with climate or climate change. And so, listening to the NDLA man who spoke on drugs, listening to the commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Commissioner of Police, all these things are all related in one way or the other. And what I see common in them is that there are bits and pieces of climate change. When people take to drugs sometimes, it's not just because they have the urge to go for drugs, because the environment forces them to go into these drugs. When people get unhealthy, they take drugs, and unconsciously they increase the dose. These health issues, many of them are related to the environment or precisely related to climate. When the civil defense man was talking about the agro-pastoralists and all that, these are all related to the environment, and therefore it is important that we understand how these issues relate to climate. Climate change has been in existence for quite some time. There is no doubt about that. But one difficult thing about climate change is simply because many people still do not understand its manifestations. Many people still do not understand how it works. Over time, if you take or go back into history, checking the climatic records in Nigeria, you come to realize that we have increased in Nigeria about 1.5 degrees of Celsius in temperature. Now, this has a lot of implications on the way we do our things, the way and manner in which we conduct our businesses. If you check back in history to this moment, you will see that rainfall